All right. Since you're the only one here right now, I guess the question is there anything on here that we're going to do this and give you the answer so you can check and say you did, but is there any specific spot in these top two places here that you had a question or concern about, or you can remember was confusing in any kind of way?
No.
Okay, all right, then I'm just going to go through this and show you how I would have done it, and I'll move at a pretty quick pace so we can get through this, but then also, stop me and ask questions, okay? So I think the new thing here, I guess stop if there's anything you go like, wait. The new thing here is to label the key and resolve these 5/7 chords. I haven't told you that these are 5/7 chords and what key you're in, but you can work backwards and say, well, if this is a 5 chord, then what's my 1 chord? And so if I have an E, G sharp, B, and D, this is an E7 chord right there, which means that I'm in the key of A minor, not C, okay, not C major. And so I'll be going to an A minor chord. Pre-resolution means that wires here, that this note right here is going to jump down rather than step up. So I'm going to end up with an A, an E, like that. That's pre-resolution. And then this guy is going to step down, and that guy is a girl, queen, is going to step down as well. We have A, C, E, okay? And then you could label these chords, I guess, if you wanted to, but I didn't ask for that specifically, okay? Pre-resolution, recognizing the key. Here again, F, A, F, E flat. This is an F7 chord right here, which means that B flat major is the key that I'm in. My 5/7. This is incomplete. I didn't label it. I need you to recognize that that's incomplete, which means you're going to resolve this strictly, which means that first off, we're going to a B flat chord, so root to root, and then strictly means that's going up there. This is coming down right there, like that. And then the uncle character holds over, and we get B flat, D, and F. Strict resolution of an incomplete chord yields a complete 1 chord right there. Okay, here I've got C, E sharp, B flat, and C again right here. It's also incomplete, but the sharp is in the top anyways, so right here, and so it's like the T note, so it's going to have to go up. If this is my 5, C sharp 7, then I'm in F sharp, and that means F sharp minor, which matches up with the key signature. And so I just do this again right here. That's going to go up to there. This is going to come down to here. This person's going to hold over, and this is going to go root to root. If you went up or down, doesn't matter, like that. Okay. Going over here, same thing. We got to identify our 5 chords and figure out what key we're in. If it's major or minor, this one resolves to a submediant, which is a 6. And we talked about that recently. First off, B, D, F sharp, A, B, D sharp, F sharp, A. That's my 5 chords, B7. So I'm in the key of E major, which matches up with my key signature. And so what we do is we just resolve this like it's 5 going to 6, but instead of having a doubled root, we have a 7th. They're still all going to come down. So this would step up to a 6 chord right there, C sharp, and everything else will move opposite the bass, with an exception that we can do. First off, if you have the option of moving that up or down because it's T, right? Just like in the 5 chord. So we'll just do this. So like that. If I go up to there, then I get doubled root, T to do. If I just say everything moves opposite, then I get doubled root instead of doubled do, right? This here used to be a B if it was triad and would come down to the G. It's an A right now, and it still comes down to the G. So really, there's not much difference, just that your original starting note is different right there. And either one of these would have been fine, okay, contextually. I have an F sharp, A, wait, hold on, inverted 5/7 chord. So F sharp, C sharp, A, and D. It looks like I've got a D7 chord right here, right? D, F sharp, A, and C, or, wow, I didn't do this right. Let me think about this. We can still, it's not a D7 because this is wrong. right? My bad. Okay, found a mistake. Let's just cross that out, pretend that this is like this. That puts us in the key of G. Okay. If you ignored that anyways, it would still resolve the same way. So we find the different parts. The third is the princess. She steps up, right? The seventh is the prince, steps down. The drunk uncle holds over and steps down like that. Regardless if there's a C sharp or not. And this was not the 5/7. That's a mistake on my part. What happens when you rush these things out? But this would be a 5/6/5 going to a 1, just like that. And same thing here. This is a G, B, D, F chord. This is a G7 chord. That puts us in the key of C. Hooray, only one mistake. This is a 5/2. You just find these guys and do the same thing. So that comes down to there, which is going to give us a 1/6. This goes up like that. This steps down. This one holds over like that. All right. So far, students probably got it all right, and I've got -1 for my key signature mistake, but that's there. Again, the only new component here is recognizing from the 5 chord what the key is, because it's not always going to be major. Sometimes it's going to be minor, and that's a classic thing that gets students and loses them points. Okay. Label the key chords and inversions. Any questions specifically on this one, Abby?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, all right. Well, these, hold on, I have a email maybe from Isa. No, okay, all right. So it's we look and we see that we have a C chord to begin with, and we have an A minor chord here. So are we in the key of C major, or are we in the key of A minor? Well, if we're in the key of A minor, we look for a G sharp leading tone here somewhere, an E chord with a G sharp in it. I don't see that. I think what I have is a deceptive cadence right here. G, G, B, D. That looks like a 5 chord going to a 6 chord is what it is. So I'm gonna keep myself here. The other thing is you could have played through this as well, and I've been like, and it feels like, definitely feels like major. Yeah, it feels like it's in major, right? Now, I'm saying that like I didn't know that because I wrote it to be that way, but if I were investigating it, that's what I'd do. I'd look at the parts and pieces and I'd try and hear it as well. Definitely feels like major. Okay, parentheses notes are for simplicity's sake given to us as non-chord tones. Everything else can be thought of as a chord tone. So this is 1, right? Just going to ignore this stuff for right now. Just going to look here. I've got a G, B, D, F. This looks like a 5 chord and it's in 4/3, right? Inversion right now. This is a 1/6 right here, right? C, E, G, G, right? This looks like not this note, but that note, D, F, F, A. That's a 2 chord. It's in first inversion. Here's a 1/6/4. There's my G, G, C, E, C, E, G, right? This is a cadential 1/6/4. You want to bracket it with this guy right there and call it all a 5 chord. And this is definitely a 5 chord right there. And this is a 6 chord right there. A, C, E, C. So it's not even, it's like they're not current skills. These are the skills we bring with us, which are foundational, okay? Once we have that figured out, this moves in by step and resolves by step in the same direction, or sorry, in the same, resolves by same note. So this is an anticipation right there. This is a neighbor tone right there. It steps up, steps down. Here is another anticipation, steps in, resolves by same note. Okay. Here is a leap up, skip down. That's an appoggiatura. Okay. Here is a step and a skip. So that's an escape tone. And this here is a suspension. It holds over and steps down. And when we find suspensions, we have to label the interval from the suspension to the bass note, as well as the resolution to the bass note. So D is a 4th above. And if it's bigger than a 9th or a 10th, we just, we squish it down. So this is a 4/3 4/3. We get rid of that octave right there. 4/3 suspension. Anything you got different that you'd like re-explained there in terms of the non-chord tones?
Well, I just didn't get the suspension 4/3 thing.
Okay, so let's just go over this one more time. Suspensions and retardations, which are upside down suspensions, right? Because they resolve up. When they happen, then you should calculate from here where the suspension is to the bass note. And if it's more than a tenth, we always just condense it down. Like the biggest thing you'll ever see is a 10/9 suspension. Most of the time we just squish it down inside an octave. So even though this is an 11th from here to here, right? We just call it a 4/3 suspension. We just pretend this guy's right down there like that. And you measure the distance there and the distance from here to the bass note, which is currently holding note. And you put that in there. Textbook spends a lot of time on it. Some theorists think it's really important, and it's good to see that there are different kinds, but I'm not so certain that at the undergrad level, or heck, at the grad level, unless you're doing serious like Baroque music study or something, that's really relevant. Suspensions are suspensions. So we want to make sure we, for full points, put that in there. When we do this thing here, okay, and we put a suspension in, we would also label the numbers as well, okay? Now, here on this one, it's more a question of I would have to grade and see what you did there. But maybe you can either tell me what you did and I can look at it, or you can show me a picture of it or something like that. You know, and I can show you what I would have done as well. But let's just start with where did you put your passing tone?
The 2 diminished 6 to the 5.
Okay,
In
and
between those two, yeah.
between which ones?
Going up from the G. Oh, that's 3 notes. Just kidding.
That's okay.
Uh-huh.
This one's particularly difficult because it doesn't present a third to fill in anywhere except one place. Do you see the gap?
Oh yeah, it's the 1 to the 4. Nope. Yes.
6.
6. Haha.
Yeah. Right here. You see that there's a third right there?
Yes.
So this would be the obvious place that you'd do that. Okay. Right. Now you could put passing tones here, but in order to make this work, you'd have to put 2 passing tones. Just letting you know. I do something like this. Right. And then that's a passing tone and that's a passing tone because they both fill in that gap. But this is probably the on purpose best place to do it. Right.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I saw 1 note in between those 2.
Yep, that's fine. That's fine. This is good that we're catching this now. So it's actually wonderful to make a few mistakes so that you go like, oh, wait, I'll check for that. But look for gaps of a third. If you don't find a gap of a third that you can fill in, look for a gap of a fourth that you could put 2 in. Right. Okay. Now, if you still don't have that, there are some extreme tricks we could do. Like, so here is a good one. That's fine. This would be fine to put 2 in as well. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Where did you put your neighbor tone? Lots of places this could happen.
Yes, I put the neighbor tone from 1 to the 4/6/4.
Okay, which voice? On the which one?
B.
B?
Yeah.
You mean the D?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
The D. Sorry, my brain's not working today.
Upper or lower?
Upper.
Okay, that would be fine. That seems perfectly fine to do. You fill that in like that. There's lots of places to do them. Here. Could have been done it in the bass right there. That would have been fine. Could have done it right here as well. That would have been fine. If you do them where you stack up, like if we put a passing tone here, you would not want to put like a lower neighbor right there because then you make parallel octaves. So that's always something to check for. Yours is completely fine though. That's good. How about an appoggiatura?
So I only got passing tone and neighbor tone.
Okay.
So I didn't add, I could not figure out where to put those three
Okay.
left.
So an appoggiatura is a leap followed by a step, right?
So that would be from the 6 to the 2 diminished.
Could do that.
right?
That would be fine. There's lots and lots of places to do it. Like, let me show you places you could do it, and then I'll show you also, and hopefully the other people, if they watch this, will see this as well. There's sort of like false positives that you can get where you think you're doing an appoggiatura, but you're not really. So here's a good place to put the appoggiatura, right there, right? Leap step,
Yeah.
right? And we can check, and this is not in common with any of these other things, so it's not making parallel whatevers or stuff. So that's another place. Anywhere where there is a difference between the notes that are like they're not the same, you can do this. So for instance, if I wanted to go from here to let's see, I wanted to from here to here, right? I could go like that, right? Now it makes parallels with this currently, so I wouldn't do both of these, but you see how that's a skip and a step. So
Yes.
that would be another place that you could do it. You just got to make sure that you haven't caused other problems like that. You can even let's see. So you could go like here. You could leap from here, and now I'll show you what I call false positives, and then I'll show you how you can also avoid them. If I wanted to, for instance, like I'm thinking, oh, I'll skip down here and step in. See how that would work? That looks like an appoggiatura, but if you actually like that looks like an appoggiatura, right, on the F sharp, but in fact, F sharp, or it's not F sharp, F, sorry, F is part of this chord. So I didn't leap to a non-chord tone.
Right.
It has the shape of an appoggiatura, but in fact, it's just arpeggiation inside the chord. That happens a lot. We get fixated on where we can do this. So, and then we don't do it right because of that. Another example, here you might think, well, I could skip down and then step in, right? But again, you're skipping into another chord tone. So we, by definition, haven't made a non-chord tone there, right?
Yeah.
So the way you can avoid that, though, is you could make it be on the strong beat. So for instance, I could take this right here, skip down to the G when it's not a chord tone, right? It doesn't have to be between the beats. It could be now G is not part of the chord, right? So by pushing this from here where it is part of the chord over to there, we get, and it's a good sound, by the way. Like let me play this for you. So I'm here. So, and then the next one would be, right? So it's fine. So when you make appoggiaturas and escape tones and things like that, and you think you're making a non-chord tone because you've got the shape of it right, check to make sure you haven't just pushed yourself to another chord tone, because then you haven't actually made any non-chord tones at all, right or wrong, okay? And then if you have an issue like this where you're going like, I'd like to go here, but this is a chord tone, push it over into the next chord. They don't always have to originate between the given notes, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Even like, let's talk about neighbor group here. You said, I'll skip suspension for a minute. Neighbor group should happen between two repeated notes, right?
Okay.
So for instance, I could go like this. Da, 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 right? Like that. And because I have two repeated notes. But if I actually had a texture with no place where I could do that, like maybe I would like to do it here because there's repeated notes, but it's causing a problem because it makes parallels with the passing tone. You can always cut a note in half and make it be two repeating notes. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's say I wanted to do, like a neighbor group between here and here in the alto. Just say that I wanted that, but this is not the same note, so I can't like up, down, and back to it. But I could do this. I could change this into two quarter notes like that, right? And if I can do that, then now I could do this. So by cutting this guy in half, I've made 2 repeated notes that now I could put neighbor group between,
Got it.
right? So you
Yeah.
can always find a place by doing a little bit of surgery, okay? All right, so I don't know if it's because you didn't have time, weren't sure about how to write these things, weren't sure about the definition. I'm gonna bet that you knew the definitions because you're already really good at that kind of work. When you said you didn't get the appoggiatura or the suspension or the neighbor group in, was it a time thing? Was it a not sure how to do that part of it?
Yes, it was a time thing. My printer was being difficult.
Okay, that's fine.
So
That's fine. I just want to make sure that that we're understanding why, because if there's like a question on how to do something,
yes.
then we want to address that right now.
Yes. Well, I wasn't
Suspension.
sure about like the 4-3 for the
Oh, sure.
the labeling, but now it makes sense. So
Okay. So let me show you, and anytime that the notes step down, you can put a suspension there. So for instance, here, these notes step down. They are great places for suspensions. Do another note place where the notes step down here to here would be another good place for a suspension. This is kind of crowded right here, so I'm just going to do this over here for a minute. By the way, retardations is when note steps up, then you do it right there. So let's say I just wanted to suspend this note right here. Okay. So I would hold the B flat over like that. I'm just going to get rid of that right there. And then I'm going to step down. See how now this note becomes enters, this is a non-chord tone here, entered by nothing, and then steps down. It's a suspension, right?
Oh, okay. Yep.
And when you've done that, then you're obligated to say, well, what's the interval from here to here? And D up to a B flat is a 6. And then when it resolves, A down to D is a 5. So this is a 6-5 suspension. If we did a double suspension and held this G over and then went down, then you'd have a 4-3 and a 6-5 at the same time, right? So that can happen. When we do retardations, it's not required for this, but if we did a retardation, like let's do one right here, right? We're going to hold this F over and then go up to the G afterwards, right? And then we still do this here as well. We say, well, here to here, this is a third, right? From F to D, and then a 4th right there. That's all we do. We just label that all the time. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you're going to get a test that looks really similar to this. I mean, not exactly the same, but similar components. The only thing that will also be on there is there'll be just a definition thing, right? Like, what are the definitions of these, right? Or identifying models of these things. Like, let me show you what I mean by that. I might say to you something like, I might say, what's that?
Same 2-step.
Same and then a step down.
Oh, sorry. That's, oh my gosh, suspension.
Right. Okay. What if I did this?
Step skip. Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
But my brain's not wanting to work this morning.
Okay. Escape. So, right.
Yeah.
So it might be written out. It might ask you to write out the definition. It might be fill in this table, or it might even be like graphic, like, you know, what do these little drawings represent, right? So anyhow, there'll be a definition section as well. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Let's finish up. I wanted to talk to you about like I said there'd be an assignment where we would label every possible thing we could about non-chord tones. Do you remember we talked about that with the accented, non-accented, chromatic, diatonic, upper, lower, that kind of thing? Kind of silly. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right here. I'm going to quickly sharpen my pencil. Do you have this guy printed out?
Yeah. I need to go grab it really quick.
Okay, sure.
Okay, I got it. Let's see. Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to go over here and I'll just play the audio for this so you can kind of hear it. It's a rag, which means that it features chromatic notes, and rags are these early pre-jazz pieces that mess with your rhythm by having hemiolas in them, these sort of like mini meters inside of other meters. So let's see. Okay, so it's a cute little thing. Da, 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 da. So it's like that kind of thing, right? And what we were going to do with this when we had 3 of you coming to class, I seriously don't know what happened to these guys. I hope that they're okay. But
I wonder if they thought that it was at 11.
maybe, but you know, published and put announcements, and
Yes, I saw the announcement.
it's like, you know. So we'll see, because I'm working with Grant next hour, so it'll be like awkward. It's like, no, guys, you have to go away. We'll see what's going on with my camera here. It's not okay. There we go. All right. So what we were going to do is we were going to have each one of you in turn take a measure and see how fast you could come up with these. So we're just going to, well, because the chords are given to us. So I'm going to do the first measure, and I want you to follow along, and then I'll have you do the second measure. Okay. So, and I'm going to put some parameters up here that if you really have these would be in your brain. You're going to talk about accented versus unaccented, right? I don't know if I spelled that right. Unaccented, I think it just has one. Okay, and then we have chromatic versus diatonic. Okay, because so this would be on the beat, between the beats, right? This would be in the scale, in the key that we're in, and this would be accidental notes that are chromatic, that are not in the scale. And then we have upper versus lower, if it applies to like a neighbor tone or something like that. Okay. All right. So here's how I would do this. And you know, this is a really good exercise. I spell this chord F, A flat, C, E flat. Okay. So now I just go through here and say, you're not part of the chord and you're not part of the chord, right? So now I'll just do this. This is a passing tone, right? Right? So it's passing tone, but it's not just a passing tone. It's an
Right.
unaccented diatonic passing tone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that
Okay.
works. Now this is
Yeah,
dumb.
yeah, yeah.
This is dumb. Like I recognize this. But after you get good enough to do this, then it just becomes like easy. You know what I mean? It's like, it's why we practice fast pieces faster than we need to play them, so that when we relax a bit, it's like effortless, right? Okay, here is another passing tone, entered by step, left by step in the same direction, right? But this is an unaccented chromatic passing tone because it's not part of the scale that we're in. All
Okay.
right. All right.
Yeah.
Spell this chord and
Okay.
then tell me all the non-chord tones and then tell me what are they, right?
Uh-huh.
And we won't worry about the left hand. Presume the left hand is all chord tones, okay?
Okay. So B flat, D, F, A flat, right?
Good.
I think. Okay. So then the C sharp is definitely not a part of the
Okay.
chord, and then the B natural and C natural.
Okay, good. Now, can you name them? How did we get in? How do we get in and out of the first C sharp?
So it's enter by skip and left by step.
Yep.
Which, oh my goodness, my brain is blanking on all of the.
That's okay. Take a moment. It's good to be under stress a little bit.
I want to say escape tone.
Close.
I think that's
it's
right.
escape tone's evil cousin.
Which one's that?
It's the Tigger one.
Oh, appoggiatura.
Yep. A double
Okay.
P, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, enter by skip step. Yeah. Yep.
Right. So this is an appoggiatura. Now let's talk about all the other things. Is it accented or unaccented?
Accented.
Good, because it's on the beat.
Right. Okay. And then
is it chromatic or is it diatonic?
I want to say that it's chromatic.
Because it's not in the scale.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And is it upper or lower?
Oh gosh, dang it. Lower.
Lower, right, because it goes down.
Whew.
We would say this is an accented chromatic lower appoggiatura.
That's quite the little passing or non-chord tone.
It is a word salad, to be sure. All right, how about this one right here? What kind of thing is it?
Suspension, right?
No. B flat, B natural, C. How did we get into this non-chord tone? And how did we leave it?
Step
and
step
in the same direction.
In the same direction, so it's a passing tone.
It's a passing tone. And
yeah, I saw B and went suspension. That's not it.
So now is it accented or unaccented?
Accented.
Good. Is it chromatic or is it diatonic?
Yeah, chromatic.
Chromatic. Cool. We don't worry about upper or lower with passing tones. So you have an accented chromatic passing tone.
Woohoo.
Okay. How about this guy right there?
That would be another passing tone?
It is another passing tone because it entered by step and left by step in the same direction. Okay. Is it accented or unaccented?
Unaccented.
Unaccented.
And chromatic.
Is it now? Is C natural part of the E flat scale?
Oh. Oh my gosh.
Here's my scale key signature.
Yes, it is part of it.
Okay, it's just there because we had a chromatic one earlier.
Right.
Right. So this is an unaccented diatonic passing tone.
Okay.
All right. All right. Yep. My turn. E flat, G, B flat. Not a chord tone, not a chord tone, not a chord tone. Not a chord tone, not a chord tone.
Jeez.
It's so good though. It's like so this, and then I gotta get my phone out of the way here. Organized and tethered to the view. Right? It's like it's just chromatic scale. All right, so entered by step, left by step in the same direction. Let's just face it, these are all passing tones, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to write passing tone every time. They're all passing tone. They're all going up. They're all
Right.
you know. So this is accented and chromatic passing tone, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is unaccented diatonic passing tone.
Right.
Okay. This is unaccented chromatic passing tone.
Mm-hmm.
This is accented diatonic passing tone. This is unaccented chromatic passing tone. Yeah, and in truth, this, okay, so now it's your turn here. Oh, you got the easy one.
Haha. So C, E flat, G, B flat.
Okay, no B flat,
Oh,
C minor.
oh, there's no 7. Haha.
Well, there is right there, but don't worry about it. We're not looking at
Okay.
the left hand.
So then just the E natural,
Good.
which would be same tone left by step.
Not same.
No, sorry, it's a passing tone. My goodness.
Good.
I see the
Yep.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Passing tone, unaccented, chromatic.
Yes. So you got to say that in an authoritative way. You know,
Okay.
in measure 4, on the last eighth note in the right hand, on the syllable so, we have an unaccented chromatic passing tone, right? Or something like that. Like, and in fact, this passing tone comes from something we call a bebop scale, which allows us to get through the scale and land on the roots on the beats. Because if we didn't, if we we're just going up and down, we did anyhow. Okay, never mind. My turn. This is again F, A flat, C, E flat, right? All right, so there and there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pink, okay. This is a passing tone, right? E flat, E natural, and F. So it's an unaccented chromatic passing tone. And so is this one too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. This one's yours.
Okay.
It's not that bad.
B flat, D, F, A flat.
Good, good.
And then the only one that is not part of the thing would be the F sharp at the end.
Yep. And it's what then?
It's a passing tone.
Okay.
Because into the next measure.
Yep.
And it would be a unaccented chromatic passing tone.